Suzy, just, how nice is it going to be to finally get the season started on Friday and kind of, get to see a little bit more of what your team is made of here?
Yeah, I know, Brian. It's really going to be. We're just looking forward to getting on a court, playing against somebody else besides ourselves, and a couple of scout boys. So, I think there's just you think back to March and everything we've been through, and I know the men probably feel this way. It's a relief to finally get a chance to feel a little bit normal. And although getting to this point has been far from normal, I think the fact that we just have an opportunity to be able to play is something we're really looking forward to. And again, we wouldn't be here without our medical team, so another shout out to them. I'm sure every coach talks about what an amazing job they've done, but they really have. This is a major undertaking. We've got men's teams playing, women's teams playing. Now you got opponents coming in here trying to get shoot-around times. They have to get tested. Now you're adding in Tier 2 people, officials. It's a lot to coordinate. So we're really thankful and grateful for the people here that have allowed us to have the opportunity on Friday.
Next, we'll go to Kellen Buddy with WILS.
Okay, I'm not muted anymore. All right. So we just got a quick look at the Breslin Center on Twitter before tonight's game, with everything all social distanced and kind of a different environment. Obviously, things are going to be different for you guys. I guess, what are the expectations coming in for a different game environment? And have you guys done anything to kind of, I don't know, practice in a different environment so they kind of know what to expect heading into Friday?
Yes, that's a great question. And it is bizarre, isn't it? I mean, just the bench area, that's still, even though we've had 2 scrimmages that we've used the sound as well, the crowd noise that's being piped in at different decibels, and then the DJ and what that's going to sound like. So we have had 2 similar like scrimmage type exhibition games, even though it's been against each other. It is very bizarre. You go to turn around and talk to a kid or find somebody, and they might be 12, 15 feet away from you, and you have to walk down to have a conversation with your point guard that just came off or your postman. So that part is really unique and different. And then we've never played a game in Breslin where that bottom bowl has been pushed in, and I know that sounds odd, but it's like a different arena when you have that space that goes all the way around. If anybody's played basketball in the past, I think when you play in arenas that are a little tighter, that tends to be, I don't know, I wouldn't say a shooter's gym, but you get used to that. You feel a little more focused on the rim. And when you have a lot more space behind there, it changes the optics a little bit. The depth perception is a little bit different. So we've been working hard to get in there to get a feel for what that's going to be like. So it won't be our first time on Friday, thankfully, but it's the first time for real on Friday, which makes it unique as well.
We'll now go to Audrey Delno with WLNS.
Suzy, nice to see you.
Hi.
I'm kind of curious as to what it is, prepping for St. Francis. I mean, you just found out that you were going to play them on Monday. Your schedule kind of set in stone. How does that change your preparation? Or, I mean, just what's it like knowing that you're going to play somebody that you just kind of found out about a couple days ago?
Well, the good thing is we had been talking to the 5 non-conference opponents that we do have on our list, our teams that we had talked to last spring about playing us this year. So they aren't really that brand new in terms of they're coming to Breslin. I think we weren't sure they were, 1, going to be able to make the trip, and 2, there's still a lot of hoops we have to jump through. I mean, they're going to have to get tested here, the night before and the day of the game. So there's still hoops there to jump through. So we're hoping we get to play on Friday. But as far as knowing that we were going to play them and who we were going to play might be the only difference. We didn't know it was going to be them to start. And that's probably the only difference. But we had anticipated them having the opportunity to come here and play at some point, or we hoped that was the case.
And then I have a follow-up in terms of kind of speaking to it being so quiet in the Breslin, and you're pumping in crowd noise and doing all of the extra things. Are you worried at all about maybe like on TV, the network being able to pick up stuff that you're saying
Yeah, I think that was one thing. And talking to Ariel in the WNBA when she was in the bubble, being a first-hand player before she got injured and left the bubble, she said that that was probably one of the biggest things that they had to figure out decibel-wise, because you really can hear everything. And so they really worked hard from the start of the games. And she said usually it was about 2.5 weeks before they got into a rhythm where coaches felt comfortable that not everything they said was being broadcasted out there to the other team. And even, we're so used to doing hand signals, for example, because everywhere we go, it's usually a pretty crazy, loud crowd, and you need to have hand signals. And so now we still have those, but it's just going to be a little bit different when the coach of the other team can just look down and probably hear what I have to say. The one time my coaching voice, though, might bless me is the fact they might not be able to hear me. So I always say that it's going to be hard through a mask for me with my coaching voice, but on the other side, maybe the positive is the other team and the opponent might not be able to understand what I'm saying because my voice isn't very loud. So they'll hear Coach Dean for sure, but and he might have to put a little muzzle on him at times, but I'm just looking forward to seeing how the flow of the game goes, and hopefully do a good job of managing exactly what you said, where we're not giving away our secrets right off the bat.
Right, that would not be good.
It would not be good. Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Keaton Coakley with the Spartan Media Network.
So, Coach,
Hey, Keaton.
just wondering if you had any updates on the transfer players yet, on their waivers.
Nope. Got 2 still sitting there. So we're waiting on them. We're hopeful, but we still have, a couple more hoops to jump through. Evidently, we're waiting on the NCAA to clear both Smitty and Janae at this point. So I'm not sure that we'll have them for Friday, but we're hopeful. I think the tough thing is it's the holidays, so a lot of people don't work on the day before Thanksgiving sometimes or the day after Thanksgiving. So it might be a little difficult to see if we'll have them for Friday at this point. But we're okay. We've got, other kids that are ready to go, and, they'll be a welcomed addition for sure if that happens. But if not, we'll be fine. We have other kids that are excited, ready to compete, and rolling up their sleeves to go to work.
So we may not have a definitive answer before the game on Friday, but something could change during this non-conference season.
Yeah, it's the NCAA, so I feel like sometimes it's like Oprah, you get a car, you get a waiver, and then other times you just feel like you don't know if anyone's at the office, So it's kind of an interesting scenario. I think there's a lot of probably waivers in the hopper, but every time I look at my timeline on social media, I feel like everybody's getting a waiver, and I don't know why we can't get one, but we're working on it, and our compliance people have done a great job trying to make it happen. But the thing with the NCAA, as you all know, there's no predictable timeline when it comes to things like that. We've seen kids turn it in and it turned around in 24, 48 hours, and other times where it's taken months. So I'm not sure what the protocol is, but we're happy to have everything in that we need, and fingers crossed that it goes our way.
Thanks, Coach.
And now we'll go to Sarah Tidwell with the State News.
Hi, Coach.
Hi, Sarah.
So can you talk a little bit about
Thanksgiving can be a delicious but a dangerous holiday.
Kitchen fires are our biggest concern around Thanksgiving.
Oh, I hear some background noise. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's,
Kitchen fires that
I heard you. Okay, sorry. Can you talk a little bit about the planning and your hopes for the Erase Hate initiative that was announced yesterday morning and that your team is going to kind of work with over the season?
Yeah, we're very excited about that. I think the one thing our young women have really spent time on and through the challenges in the off season with social injustice is they wanted it to be more than just something that was said on a t-shirt. They really wanted action. And I think having Terry Jackson speak to our team about how the WNBA went about some of their initiatives when it came to social injustice really inspired our girls to say we want to come up with something that when we move forward, that it does have action items. They can be small, they can be large, and we're still continuing to work on those as we speak. But I think right now I'm so proud of our girls because, they're the next generation that's going to make the difference in this world. And I think watching them be inspired to know that They love being a Michigan State Spartan, but they're also athletes. And I think, female, especially black female voices and female voices in general sometimes aren't always heard. And so I'm very proud of them standing up, buying into something that they feel is very, very important as a group collectively, and certainly as a program we feel the same way, that this is just bigger than basketball this year. And our job as coaches is really just to provide them an opportunity. And I just have a huge smile on my face thinking about how they're going to change the world, and it's just really enjoyable to watch each and every player make a difference, especially when it comes to erasing hate and racism and social injustice.
And do you have any plans or ideas of how you guys are going to go about lifting up the voices of these underrepresented communities in the greater Lansing area?
Yeah, we're connecting right now with certain groups and organizations, and have been here the last couple months. I think once we decided that this was something we were thinking about doing, we're going to do small things, but I think one of the things our girls really want to do, as always, Michigan State women's basketball has done an amazing job in the community, especially when it comes to young people. Our Empower Her organization has connected with Bold Change, which is also part of Big Brothers Big Sisters, and there's almost 700 young people in the greater Lansing community right now that are looking for an adult mentor, somebody that they can look up to, someone that maybe just checks in on them. There's a lot of kids at home right now with their parents are working full time, and they just, maybe an outside influence might help. And so that's one of the areas that we're looking at is, even though we can't have them or we can't leave campus due to COVID, what can we do in order action-wise to make that happen? Things like pen pal programs. We're looking at actually creating our own Zoom opportunity with some of our kids, and setting up opportunities for people in the greater Lansing area, especially young girls, to connect with our players, to talk to them about what it's like to be successful, how they got here, some of the challenges they faced, and just maybe mentor them from a virtual space at first until we can hopefully open things up and invite them to a game.
Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
And now we'll go to Rico Cooney.
Good afternoon, Coach.
Hi, Rico.
I'm bummed that there was no opening statement. We'll work on that. In terms of getting back to this empty gym, are you going to have your girls at the Spartan men's game tonight, maybe to get a feel for everything? And then how long do you think it's going to take for the ladies to get used to this whole empty gym idea?
Well, I think when you're a Spartan, I'm not sure you'll ever get used to it, because we have such amazing fans here. And as you know, we're, top team in the country in women's basketball, top 10 most of the time in attendance. Same thing, men's, our sellouts. Midnight Madness is an amazing event. People come out left and right and to see our teams play. So I don't know if we'll ever get used to that part. We would love to be able to go to the men's game, but even though we're antigen tested and we're cleared, our administration just feels, just due to the governor's orders, it's probably best that we don't come in the gym at that time, even though we're cleared. So we'll have to watch it from, our homes and whatnot. But we see them every day in practice, and we go down there and we practice down there, and we both have had 2 different scrimmages. So although it'd be great to see a game live in there, it's just not going to happen due to the governor's orders at this point.
Okay, thanks. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Okay, you too, Rico. Good to see you.
Too.
We have a follow-up question for Brian Calloway.
Suzy, you talked a little bit, about Eliza, in previous sessions in that sophomore class, but could you take me through some of those other sophomores and, how their development has kind of come along as they enter year 2?
Yeah, there was a class of 5 in that class of freshmen that are now sophomores. I've mentioned Eliza, and I think she's had a tremendous off season. She's in really good shape, although she just did kind of roll her ankle on Sunday, but she'll be all right. That's part of basketball, right? Rolling ankles. So she practiced today, and it was good to see her back out there. Sydney Dodd is out. She had surgery, so she'll be done for the year. But the other 3, Julia Arault looks really good. She spent a ton of time in the gym working on her shot. She's gotten stronger, Brian, thicker, stronger. I think if you saw her last year compared to this year, much like on the men's side, you see an incoming freshman guy and you see them their sophomore year, and there's usually a pretty significant difference. Julia's really committed to the weight room in the off season, even though it was a pandemic. They had a weight room in their garage in Grosse Pointe, so they were able to work out there. And she looks really good, as well as spending time in the gym. Tyre too, Ty's coming off. Ty's somebody that, she really could be special. She really could be. I think she's got some skills and power, and she's mobile. She is hard to guard and contend with at times. I think I'd like to see her conditioning continue to grow a little bit. I mean, her motor needs to get a little bit longer, I guess, her ability to stay out on the court longer, because she is effective. But I will tell you, her progress, her knowledge, her flow of the game, I mean, she's not a deer in the headlights looking anymore. I mean, this kid's ducking in hard, wanting the ball, really understands ball screen defense now. Just both sides of the ball, you can see confidence there. And then Mo, I've talked a little bit about Mo Joyner. I mean, she really, by minutes played and experience, is probably more like a junior. As a freshman, she started most of our games, and she was our go-to stopper defensively. She's really working hard as a leader. I think that was a goal of hers this offseason, is to be a better vocal leader and a consistent leader that way. So she's done that. And then she has goals to do a better job of shooting the ball from the arc. And that's something that she's really worked on in the offseason. So all four of those kids have done a really good job improving this offseason, and I think you'll see that on the court this year.
We've got time for one more question from Audrey Dalton.
This is the 40th season of women's basketball in the Big Ten. And so I guess since we're kind of around Thanksgiving time, I was wondering if you could offer some perspective in a sense of being grateful for, where the conference started and where it is now.
Yeah. Well, you think about that, and I always go back to Title IX, which, 1972, and what that legislation meant to women and women in sport in particular. 40 years of Big Ten basketball, you've seen it evolve and grow. I mean, I think the biggest difference now, I tell the story sometimes of when I first got here. I met a longtime season ticket holder that she said, Suzy, I used to go to the games in the second floor of the IM building at Michigan State, where they would let the girls play after the wrestling team was done and rolled their mats up, and there might have been 8-10 parents there. To now, she, 40 years later, she's watching a team on national television with visibility. We have options to get on planes and take charters. Just the growth in terms of the resources that the Big Ten has put in, the growth in terms of the marketing and the ability to enhance women's sport. I mean, certainly we're not finished yet. I will say I think we have a long way to go as well, but I really am proud to represent the Big Ten when it comes to their stance on women's sports. And we're just going to continue to march on and hold our heads high and continue to put that product out there and, win games, and hopefully the pride of our Spartan Nation is behind us.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you too, Audrey.
Thank you, Coach, and we hope to see you all in person or via Zoom on Friday. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Happy
Take care.
Thanksgiving.